Michael, we're going to break down opening night live from Gamescom. Last night we just checked it out. Dude, there's a lot happening. We're going to run right through the list. Then we're going to come back and highlight the ones that stood out to us. And there's definitely some standouts here. World premiere started off things, which was nice to see. Borderlands 4 2025. Black Ops 6 coming October 25th. The Day 1 Zombies in a theater mode. I know you were pretty pumped about that.
Oh, yeah.
Shocks is the co-host, which is really cool, and then Goat Simulator Remaster is coming out as well.
One of my favorite parts. Then we got some Persona Reload, the DLC Aegis, coming out September 10th. Exclusive look at Dying Light the Beast, 20 hours of gameplay, a new region, a game I know you definitely were hyped for when you saw it. Then we got an interesting one. We got the Black Myth Wukong trailer, despite the game already releasing yesterday. And then we got a fighting game, Dragon Ball Sparking Zero.
Absolutely. Then we continued on with King of Meat, Linked, Banner of the Spark coming out in October, Lost Records, Bloom and Rage. Dude, this looked really cool. We'll talk about that one more here shortly. No More Room in Hell 2 coming soon. It's an 8-player co-op game. Very interesting. Arc Raiders had me pumped. It's an action survival shooter coming in 2025.
We got into Infinite Nikki. Then we got into a game we talked about a lot. There's been a lot of it leaked. Space Marine 2 coming out September 9th. This was going to be one of the bigger ones in the middle of the show. Path of Exile 2 with an early access date of November 15th. That is just right around the corner. Dune Awakening, early 2025 for a very hyped and very anticipated MMO. And then a new game, Reanimal, that still is scaring the living daylights out of me.
Yeah, absolutely. Genshin Impact was on the way too, with some more DLC on the way. We got another look at Monster Hunter Wilds. Naraka Blade Point had a crossover with Tomb Raider coming out on August 28th. That was a bit of a shock. Fatal Fury coming to early access on April 23rd, 2025, and Mecha Break.
We got Monument Valley 3 coming out later this year, December 10th. Then we got our first look at Civ 7, set to hit February 11th of 2025. And we got some of the big ones. Starfield, the Shattered Space DLC confirmed for September 30th, and the Rev 8 Rover came out last night for the game. You and I both thought that was kind of cool. And then maybe the biggest news of the show, we'll talk about it later, Marvel Rivals with Captain America and Bucky confirmed, but the December 6th launch date with a little bit of a Doom tease as well, absolutely massive, and that wrapped up the first half of Gamescom.
Absolutely. Then things started off okay, and then we'll get into it. We get 15 episodes of Secret Level on Prime December 10th. It's basically a mashup of like a love story to video games. Really, really cool. We always talk about how the cinematics are there. This is where this is kind of going. We get Age of Mythology Retold coming out September 4th. Tower Born September 10th is early access. Delta Force Hawk Ops, which is now called Delta Force. They dropped the Hawk Ops. Thank you. Early access Q4. And then Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 on February 11th, 2025.
Then we had another trailer for a game already that was out. We had Zenless Zone Zero. This had come out a few weeks ago. That got a trailer. Honkai Star Rail getting a crossover as well. A game that you and I both said, what could have been? We got the look at Batman Arkham Shadow VR. This is coming out in October. We'll look at Little Nightmare 3, a little bit of a work in progress there. And then Hurdling in 2025, a game that looked very interesting, kind of caught my eye.
Absolutely. And then the legend himself, Peter Molyneux, comes back to announce Masters of Albion. 20 people working on the game. It's an open world god game. We'll get into that. Squid Game Unleashed coming to mobile. Unknown 9 Awakening on October 18th. Arena Breakout Infinite had a quick trailer, and then some news on Indiana Jones.
And we wrapped up this show. Jonah Ferris of Blizzard gave us all the lowdown. It is the 20th anniversary of World of Warcraft. A lot of anniversaries, a lot of Warcraft themes, and some Diablo news of the new expansion coming out in October. We looked at the first Berserker Kazan in early 2025. Era History Untold right around the corner, September 24th. A Dark and Darker mobile game also coming out. And then Floatopia is a very interesting looking game as well.
Absolutely. And then some shocking news to end off the show. Two big highlights. Indiana Jones coming December 9th. We finally get the release date, as well as the announcement of the spring release date in 2025, the PlayStation 5. And on top of that, to end off the show was the teaser trailer of Mafia: The Old Country. Dude, I am pumped for that one. We'll get more details on that in December, which I'm expecting to be around the Game Awards. So that is the rundown. That is the list. Dude, we saw a lot yesterday. Michael, what do you score in this? What are your thoughts overall? You've had a day to kind of sit on it. Where are you feeling? What's your comfort level?
I'm still in that, 7.5-ish range. I think you and I talked about it when we were doing this show yesterday. Stream of the Gamescom opening night. It really felt like we started out really strong, like that 8.5 level. And then after Marvel Rivals hit, we slowed down, brought in a lot more developers, had a lot more narrative, not as many games, not as many big games as well. That kind of hit that 6.5-ish range in the end of the show. So yeah, I'm still at that 7.5. A lot of big news, but also a lot of news that, I felt like we knew about, right? It was just confirming what we already knew.
No, absolutely, right? I'm right there, just a little bit below you with the 7. I mentioned it yesterday. I'm still kind of at that back half of the show really tapered off until the very end of the show. And it wasn't, I thought we were so strong up front. And then, like you say, right, once we hit Marvel Rivals, dude, it just went poof, almost to a grinding halt. We came out with some awards, and then it went into some other reveals and things like that. It just wasn't enough to kind of keep that momentum that the first half started with for the rest of the show. And you kind of expect this at some point throughout the show, but for 2 hours, like, dude, I thought the first hour hit, and I was like, wow, man, they're hitting strong right now. What's the back half going to look like? Because I was pumped. Going first half looks really, really good. Cool. We got another half to go. What do we get? And just kind of tapered down a little bit, but then picked it back up right at the end. Michael, what games caught your eye? Let's get into it. Let's break some of these highlights down. What's one that stood out to you the most so far?
I think, I'll really say that there were two. One of them I'll say was really a meme, but the fact that Goat Sim Remastered even made an appearance at the Gamescom opening night still just makes me laugh every time I see it, every time I think about it. That game was already sort of like a meme troll game that had its, 5 hours of fun. So the fact that they're bringing back a remaster, that one was really silly. But to me, it was got to be Dune Awakening, right? This is an MMO trying to break into the MMO genre. Dune absolutely blew up in theaters, so now we're going from theaters to the gaming world. Game looked fantastic from some of the trailers that we saw, which I think was the other big thing for me. A lot of these games were just cinematics. In fact, this game had some gameplay trailers. That one really stuck out because early 2025, too. That is right around the corner. It's going to get here faster than we think. But that was that one game that I'm like, all right, new MMO. I love my MMOs, so definitely want to check that game out. And it looked pretty polished from what we were able to take a look at.
No, absolutely. I'm right there with you. That was the highlight of the show for me. We knew we were getting Dune Awakening footage. This is what we talked about, too, going into Gamescom, is the stuff we already knew about. It's the things that we didn't know about that I was really looking forward to seeing. And there's only a couple little things that really kind of shocked us at the end of the day, right? But yeah, definitely Dune Awakening, that MMO. Dude, I cannot wait to get in there with my brother, with the crew from ITG, and just hang out, have a good time. And I'm such a fan of that loot, craft, survival mechanic that it's just, dude, the game loop just keeps me going, right? I just keep coming back for more. And then once you hit this level 40, you go out into the big sandstorm, and it's like the end game content. And then once a week, we've been told that they're just gonna wipe that clean, and then you jump back in. Everything's new, the map has changed, resources are in different locations, and you just keep building, and you keep building, and you keep grinding, and then looting. And like, I'm really curious to see how far they can push us. The character creator on this game too looks absolutely insane. So I'm looking for a ton of fun, hopefully, in early next year, which gives us early access, right? It's not going to be the full game, coming to PC. So we'll see where we can go. I'm such a console guy, and I was really hoping they would launch both at the same time. Yeah. We have seen a lot of games do that as of late, so it would have been nice to see that. But one step at a time, it'll come over. My only fear, though, is once it does come over, I've already grinded out enough on PC that I don't want to continue over on console. That's my only fear there. But the other one, and let's get into the big shocking reveal, Michael, was Marvel Rivals. Dude, the fact that we got the release date of 2024, December 6th, I was shocked. You and I both went, whoa, I thought this was a 2025 game. Captain America, Bucky reveal. Bucky's got this like extension off his arm. It looks like Venom. I was like, oh man. We played the beta. There's definitely some polish. Not some polish, I would say some balancing that needed to be attended to. I'm curious if they took that feedback, what balancing they have made, what adjustments have they made to the game, and what are we getting into the release on December 6th. I'm pretty pumped though. What about you?
Yeah, I'm pretty pumped, and as shocking as it was, because I'm with you, I thought 2025, that's all we had heard. Also, it's something that you, Scott, myself, and we all played on the beta together, did a little bit of ITG live stream. We all said the same thing. This game is too polished to be 2025. Yes, there's some balancing that needs to be done, but we all kind of came to this conclusion. Why are we in 2025, right? This beta feels really good. What are they gonna do that's taking it so long? And maybe that was just they realized that themselves and let's push this up. December 6th probably tells me we'll have an open beta probably around like October, November. Let's test out Captain America. Let's test out Bucky. Then we'll kind of have it. But that was the one thing that always stood out to me. The more I played that game in the beta, I had some friends. We hopped on. We grinded it out. We unlocked the permanent Venom skin. We all said to ourselves, why 2025? This beta is so polished compared to other betas I played. So
Yeah.
I was very surprised. In the back of my mind, I was like, this all checks out. Like, this beta was too strong to be a 2025 release. But no, this was the big news. Like you said, this kind of stole the show. Maybe if this was at the end, we'd have a higher rating, right? Because after this, it did kind of all go downhill. But yeah, December 6th, absolutely massive. Cannot wait to hop into this. I wonder if we'll get like a release hero, right? I wonder if we're going to get like, hey, 2 new heroes on release as well. Maybe that feels like something to also draw on the hype, but this roster's so stacked that I just want to play this game again. I cannot wait to hop in December 6th and just go full blow. I know none of my progress reset. This game is awesome.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. I know what's my dude. That announced, my son immediately texted me like, Dad. I'm like, dude, I saw. Like, we're streaming it. I get it. I know. Like, we're pumped too, and just as surprised, right? So very, very cool. We got another look at Monster Hunter Wilds, dude. The more I see that game, at this point, I don't need to see anymore. I just want the game. I think the game looks incredible. It looks so much better than Worlds. Like, I played a ton of Worlds. I had a ton of fun in it. But graphically now in Wilds, I'm like, man, I'm blown away. I'm hoping there's a photo mode, but I don't know how they'll do that with a co-op situation, right? Because you can't just pause the game straight up. So I'm very curious to see how that goes down. Starfield, Shattered Space, finally get the release date. We said it was coming September. We kind of figured that, right? Coming up on that 1-year anniversary leading in. Makes a ton of sense to drop it at the end of the month. And I'm very excited to jump back into that. Really excited, though, that we finally have a land vehicle in the world that I'm not traversing 200 meters that way to walk all the way back or to then fast travel, right? If I'm able just to set out. I wonder now, my biggest question is, and I should have done this last night before even jumping on, Michael, would have made way more sense. But if I'm out on the planet, when I fast travel back, what's that do to my Land Rovers, right? Rev 8. Very, very curious. Very, very curious. Michael, let's get into the big thing that kind of went, why? You know what I'm talking about. Indiana Jones going to PlayStation 5. It's, dude, we led up to the Gamescom saying that there's rumors of this happening. What is going on? Why would they do this? Where are the Xbox exclusives? Where do they stay exclusive? This timed exclusive is what's going on with Indiana Jones. I got into a discussion last night with Scott, and I got into a discussion with Brad from Northern Nerdcast on Twitter about, hey, well, like, what is the point of this? Why would we want to do this? Why be an Xbox fan if everything just eventually comes over to PlayStation? Granted, not everything is there yet, right? But it almost feels like there's an opportunity that why not put Halo over there at this point?
Yeah, I think the only saving grace that I can think of this, right, is because Indiana Jones is this massive franchise, right? Like, it's known by everyone, right? For like a Halo or a God of War, those are known on the console, right? God of War, you're known to PlayStation, right? You don't need to expand your audience. That's the only thing that I could see justifying this. Is like, look, Indiana Jones is so massive that they're just like, look, we got to get this to everybody at some point. But I'm with you. What's the point of the exclusives at this point, especially if you're Xbox? As we talked about it, it feels like we beat this horse to death. Where were the Xbox exclusives at? Where have they been? 2024 was a great year to put something out. We got nothing. 2025, it doesn't sound like we got anything. We already have rumors of a new God of War. I haven't heard new Halo rumors. I haven't heard the Xbox answer to the new God of War, and it's absolutely wild to me. The interesting thing with Indiana Jones, that it kind of get stuck on this, right? These timed exclusivities, they should have a date, right? The fact that we just got early spring for the PS5 for Indiana Jones, that kind of threw me off. Shouldn't we have a date? Should it be 6 months from release, 5 months from release? The fact we don't have a date tells me something is kind of murky with this PS5 release. I don't quite know what, but that one threw me off. We should just have an exact date where this exclusivity ends, I would think.
You would think we already have the date set for the Xbox version, right?
Mm-hmm.
It almost feels like Xbox now is going third party more than they're staying first party. It just seems like a weird transition. We'll see what the future holds there. My concern is that they don't think that Indiana Jones is a big enough IP. So I'm on the opposite side of you going, maybe they don't think that there's enough gravitas there to pull people in, that they're going to make enough money back, or they're like, like you say, it is that big that we feel we should put it over on PlayStation as well to let them bring in the audience and get, granted, dude, like more players that get to play these games, the better for everybody, right? Which is kind of where Xbox is shaping themselves. I wonder if the shoe was on the other foot and Xbox was leading the console race, would they have done this move? That's where I'm at. We'll see how it all pans out, but there's a couple other things too to get to before we wrap up the show. There's always something to talk about here, dude. Where should we go? Let's go to Mafia, the old country. I'm listening to this. I'm like, ooh, sounds like The Godfather. Wait a second. Is this Mafia? And it was Mafia. This one could be really, really cool. I believe I got a press release on it, and I didn't check it out too much, but I was really looking forward to what the opportunities hold for this one for the future. Coming off of 3, a lot of us were just kind of like, good time, but not the best time, right? 2 was incredible. 1 was a solid foundation. So to see where they're going to take this one now, we're going back. This is a prequel to the series, so I'm like super excited. I like Italy as a time frame too. That the location I think is really, really cool. Have you played any of the Mafia games?
I have not. It's one of those that I've kind of been on the sidelines for, but this trailer definitely was one of those, like, I want to check them out. And I think, to me, this was maybe the trailer that helped the second half of Gamescom, right? Because these are the kind of trailers that I expect from Gamescom. Sure, there's going to be a hardcore out there, oh, I knew about this game, whatever. But for a lot of us, it felt like this game kind of came out of nowhere, right? We got this final trailer. You and I both thought, all right, Indiana Jones, all right, we're done, right? This is how Gamescom's going to end. We've been calling it for the last 15 minutes. And then all of a sudden, here's this trailer. And that's what I wanted more of at Gamescom, right? It didn't feel like we had these exclusive Gamescom's trailers, these world premieres, these, hey, this is coming out. Maybe it's 2026, maybe it's 2025, but this game's coming out. Keep it on your radar until we got to that Mafia of the Old Country. So that was really what I loved about that. Is this? That was one of the few outside of Marvel, but that was more of a release date shock. That I'm like, yeah, this is why I needed to tune into Gamescom, was to get the shock of seeing this trailer live, and that's what I think got me the most hype. Is, again, I had no idea this was coming, and that's where I'm like, okay, now I'm pumped for this game.
Yeah, they teased us too leading into it with Arc Raiders. I'm like, cool, we're going to see something. Dude, we didn't really see anything, but it's another cinematic. That was pretty disappointing. Honestly, at the end of the day, I was really hoping for more out of that one. Lost Records, Bloom and Rage. So this is Don't Nod's next title, and I cannot wait. Dude, anything Don't Nod does, I just want to be a part of that. Like, I think the stories that they tell are so unique and so well done that they're just expertly crafted. So for me, dude, that's really kind of like the highlights. And then, of course, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. February release date, 7 days before Avowed. Is that a concern to you and the team over at Obsidian, maybe? What do you think, Michael?
I mean, if I'm Avowed, I'm a little upset right now, right? I'm looking and saying, did we really need to delay this game? Because when you delay first, you give Kingdom Come the chance to say, all right, let's push our game back, but let's push it right in front of Avowed. Of course, I'm disappointed. I thought this was, you and I talked about it all the time when Avowed got delayed. We're like, no way Kingdom Come gets delayed. No way this game gets delayed. It's a little bummed that it does, but the fact it comes out first, yeah, I think that's a complete concern. Avowed's got to absolutely blow it out of the park now, because if they don't, everyone's just going to say, all right, I'll stick with Kingdom Come 2. There's going to be so much content in that game. It's going to be hard to finish in a week. So, disappointed it was a February release, though, right? The calendar, that was the other thing from Gamescom. You're happy that you get all these games, but man, that calendar, you look at it, you're like, okay, I gotta play this game, but I have 3 days to finish it before the next game I want to play comes out. And then 2 days after that, there's another game I want to look at. This September to like March of 25 calendar looks very, very tight if you're a gamer and you want to hit a lot of these anticipated games.
Absolutely. There's a lot still to talk about ahead of us for the rest of the week. We want to hear from you, though. Hit us up, itgtv.com.